Hi YouTube, my name is Yusuf and I'm making a new weather video. Today we are November the 27th and it is a rainy day in Belgium on this Sunday. So let's talk about the weather. And as usual, I always start with the polar vortex because the polar vortex basically steals the weather. If you know what's happening on top of the atmosphere, then you know what will happen below the atmosphere. With of course a delay, but we already will be knowing the trends to come, or what we could expect. So in my previous video I talked already about this, about the polar vortex, and there I showed an erratic polar vortex stretched over Siberia all the way to Greenland. It is still over Greenland, a bit less stretched over Siberia, but definitely in the wrong position, too far away from the actual North Pole. And why is this so important? Because the jet stream, and I'm going to the 250 millibars, has a tendency to follow the polar vortex, but this time it's over Greenland. So what it will do, it will try to encircle it, but it will be difficult for the jet stream because it's not supposed to do that because of the temperature distribution. Because it's colder over the poles, of course, than the mid latitudes, but it will try to do that nonetheless, and we will see this. Let me just go to the climate reanalyzer. I will put the 250 millibars, but first I will show you the global map. So this is a forecast of the jet stream pattern at 250 millibars, and if we move the slider to see the forecast, we can see right over here how it goes. It wants to go to the north, to the Arctic itself, and it is not supposed to do that. When it does that, it slows down and the amplitude decreases. But what's really interesting is that it will keep doing this. Look, it goes again all the way over the Arctic, and this is not supposed to happen, and it's very bad. Why? I will show you why. Let's go to the Arctic itself. It's much easier to understand. Let me just move the slide a little bit. So this is the Arctic, on top of the Arctic, and the jet stream is supposed to be a wavy pattern in a circular motion, but this time we have the jet stream that wants actually to circle around Greenland, around the polar vortex. So we have these two intrusions over the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, and they want to enter the Arctic. And this will bring extreme weather over the Arctic, extreme positive anomalies, and over the mid-latitudes, cold anomalies, because the cold air over the Arctic will be pushed to the mid-latitudes to make space for the warm air that comes over the ocean. And if I put the temperature anomaly, you can actually see it more clearly. So let's go to the beginning. This is now. And what will happen is, if the forecast is accurate, if the situation remains this way over the polar vortex, then you can be sure that this will happen. Let's move the slider. And as you can see, so we have seen that the jet stream wants to enter in the Arctic, and as it does so, it brings along with it warm air on both sides, from the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. And this will warm the Arctic and at the same time push this cold dry air, which is normally over the North Pole, over to the mid latitudes. It will spill much more easily, and we will have cold temperatures over there, much colder than usual, and over the Arctic very positive anomalies, but also over Greenland itself. As you can see, you can actually almost see the movement as I talk, as I actually move the slider. So this is what we can expect if the forecast happens. Of course, this is only a forecast. The situation can always change, but by change I mean if the polar vortex actually regains its position and becomes a nice circular shape over the North Pole. But personally, I don't believe this will happen. Partly because also, if we move to the South Pole, we see the same situation here. It's almost summer, but you can see actually the polar vortex, which is normally located over Antarctica, is too far away from its intended position. So we can see the anomaly is happening both north and south of the planet. But as to the reason, we can definitely rule out the fact that the polar vortex follows the cold, because here it is doing the opposite. It is doing the opposite in the South Pole and the North Pole at the same time. So is it because of Earth's magnetic field, some other mechanism? I don't know what is really happening, what's causing the polar vortex to behave so erratically. Personally, I believe that Earth's magnetic field has to do something with it, but I could be wrong. Of course, it could be another reason altogether. I'm just speculating, so anything is possible. What I do know is this is not normal. Polar vortex is supposed to be over the coldest part of the North Pole and the South Pole, just on top of it. So this is not an ideal situation and definitely not a normal one. So we can expect extreme weather, and let me go back to the world map to show it one more time. So as I move the slider, these are anomalies, and these are not actual temperatures. We can see it will be too cold over the United States, because the cold over the Arctic will be spilled over the mid latitudes, so it will enter. You can compare it to the door of fridge that will be opened over here and over there. And at the same time, warm air will be pouring, of course, over here and over this area, over the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean, and warm the Arctic region, as you can see over the anomalies, but also over Greenland. As we can see, Greenland and the Arctic itself will be experiencing very warm temperature anomalies, and consequently over the United States and Europe colder. So this basically is what I've been mentioning in my previous video, and now actually you have the proof of that. So if you watched my previous video, then you know that I'm spot on, and I usually am when I make weather videos. I certainly hope I'm wrong about all the rest, about the sudden stratospheric warming and the polar vortex splitting in two, because that would mean a very, very harsh winter, both of the United States and Europe as well. This is again showing the 10 millibar section. So now everything is normal. We don't have a sudden stratospheric warming, and let's hope it stays this way, but everything points into the opposite direction. And this again shows, this is actually the ozone distribution, and you can actually see it clearly now what is happening. So the polar vortex is over here, and of course the ozone is going to follow it because it's an air circulation movement. And it is definitely in the wrong position. It's supposed to be over Antarctica. Here it is less severe than in the northern hemisphere, but showing the same trend. And why am I showing also this? This is because in this part of Antarctica, there is of course less ozone because of this, because of it too far over here, over the Weddell Sea, instead of on top of Antarctica, and this could cause more melt, especially over the ice shelf over in this area over the Weddell Sea. So don't be surprised if you're here when summer ends in Antarctica, and for them, of course, spring will be beginning, and for us, autumn in the month of March, that large icebergs will be breaking up and floating in the ocean. So you know the reason, because ultraviolet is absorbed by the ocean much more easily than visible light. So a lot of energy will be poured in this region and warm actually the ocean, and that warm ocean water can go under the ice shelf and melting it easily. So we will see. Time will tell whether I'm wrong or right. But if you do hear about ice breaking, then you know the cause of it might be this situation over here. So this is almost the end of the video. Let me see. Physical. Oh yes, and by the way, if you haven't done already, don't forget to push the like button and to subscribe to my channel. This way you won't miss any future videos. You will get a notification. So don't forget to turn on the notifications as well. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, that it is number 70. Yes, I think. Let's just take number 72. There is such a grateful tickling in the mind of a man in being commended, that even when we know the praises which are bestowed on us are not our due, we are not angry with the author's insincerity. Speaks of itself. So if someone gives you praise and how do you call this? Yeah, compliments that you don't really deserve, or which are misplaced, then typically you would react in a positive way, because even though the person is lying, we all like to hear these things. This is what it means. So also beware of a person who does that, because obviously that means there is an ulterior motive behind these compliment and praises. So this is actually, if you experience this, this is always a bad sign. So this is it, people. Don't forget to hit the like button. Turn on the notifications, and of course subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope we will see each other next time. Bye bye everyone.